Yo, 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 what's goody, y'all? This is your boy Tony Sway. What's good? This is your boy Tony Sway. I'm cooking up in the studio, as you can see. I got the Prophet 6 fired up. You know what I mean? Got all my other boards, Kumar Spirit, PWM Mantis, Yamaha CP73. I'm in the studio working. Got the sunny view, bright blue sky on fleek, and you're seeing a silhouette of me. So I don't have the lighting set up where you can see a clear view of me, but at least you get the nice backdrop. So felt like making a video. I want to show love to everybody watching. I appreciate y'all. God bless. I love y'all. Nothing but love to everybody out there. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to do a quick live while I'm cooking up. And let's talk about, I really want to talk about how people can make a living as a musician slash artist slash singer or slash rapper in 2025. I really want to know the people out there that are earning from their music. I really want to know how many people are actually earning from it, and how much people are actually managing to pay some bills through their songs or royalties or playing shows and whatnot. And I'm going to give you some tips on what I do, um, you know, to stay eating and to keep my family good and to paid off on my cars and all that kind of stuff, and not, not be on the streets and that kind of stuff. Not there's nothing funny about that. And I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. I have had a pretty difficult upbringing, but I'm good now. So shout out to the God. Wouldn't be where I'm at without him. So, but I truly want to see other people pay their bills with their music. It is true, you can pay your bills doing stuff that you love. Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot pay your bills doing something that you love. And there's different levels, obviously, but you can definitely pay your bills doing music. And so I want to discuss that. I'll let y'all get in the chat. So if you have any questions about how to make money with your music in 2025, just shoot them. Shoot them at me. And I'm going to tell you all the different ways that I've utilized, you know what I mean? Whether it's streaming, selling directly to people, even selling CDs, whether it's, custom production for people, whether it's, writing songs for people, whether it's doing hooks for people, whether it's getting publishing admin deals from places like Cobalt, or sometimes you get lucky and you get a hit record and if you get the right lawyer. Trust me, if you get a hit song, you're going to want a lawyer. If any of you out there has a record that is blowing up and you're not getting paid, contact me, because I can plug you in with the right lawyers. I have a really great lawyer that, helped me out and put money in my bank, man. So if any of you out there do have a song that's really blowing up and for some reason you're not getting paid, but are you getting messed with, or this happens in the industry. There's producers out there who have hit records that haven't got one royalty for it. I know, because I've been through that. I've been through different situations where I myself didn't get paid for records that were doing well, and it took having that happen a couple times in a row for me to actually get the courage to figure out how to work with the lawyer. And I'm glad that I did that. And it's not just one record, but I've had several different situations throughout my career where I should have got paid and I just didn't. I didn't take any action and I lost money because of it. So sometimes it's because it's people I knew or I didn't want to offend people. But yeah, I'm here for you guys. Any of you guys that are trying to make money off your music, just shoot me some questions in the chat. I'll be glad to help. I'm proud to say, I've been in this game for a while, and to be honest, I'm getting ready to cross over $1 million made just from being independent. Not in 1 year, so don't get into. I didn't make $1 million a year, so don't put that out there. I don't want people to think that, but I'm getting ready to cross over $1 million made from music, which is insane. I'm independent. I have no label. My publishing deal, I got that because of my lawyer. And You know, it is very possible to just be just an average person and totally make money off your music. You know what I mean? I'm a pretty normal person. Besides making music, I'm just a normal person. And you know what I mean? That's about it. So, but I would love to help other people see that first meal from their music. And it feels crazy saying that, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't, certainly doesn't feel like it, because, you know, to be honest, it don't really feel like it, but it's because over time, it's been me doing it for music full time since 2011. I finally quit my last job. So, and it's crazy to say that I'm about to cross that $1 million threshold. You know what I mean? So it's all for music. You know what I mean? So it's kind of it's a crazy feeling. You know what I mean? So, and you know, respectfully, I mean, a lot of any of you, even people who don't do music, a lot of people will, of course, reach that $1 million threshold over a course of time. But the thing is with me is that there's a lot of people who are just like me, who just want to make music, but they don't think that they can actually pay their bills with it. And you don't have to be a gazillionaire to be a musician. You could make it as a musician and live very well at 150K, 200K as a musician. You don't have to be a multimillionaire. You can live a decent life making 200 grand a year or 150K a year, depending where you're at. I mean, if you live in like Frisco or something, you're probably going to want to make 300 grand at least. But you know, if you just live in a normal area, you'll do just fine making 150 to 200K as a musician. And there's people doing it every day. You know what I mean? So, and but don't do music for the money though. Do it because you love it. But if you can earn a living from it. But yeah, I guess I don't see any musicians popping up. So, but if you guys have any questions about how to make money from your music, I'm here to help. I definitely have experience making money from music. So appreciate y'all. Bye. So hit me up. I ain't going to talk anymore. I'm going back to this beat. So if you have any questions about how to make money from your music, just hit me up. Just hit up the chat. But I guess there's no musicians in here. If there's a musician in here just watching me and you're not making money and you're not asking questions, shame on you, because you should be making money from your music. You should be making money from your music. Let's just be real. If you're not making money from your music, you need to get humble and you need to ask people how do you do that? There's a lot of people that don't know, you know what I mean? Most people I know don't know how to get a publishing deal. Most people I know don't know how to hire a music lawyer. These are all things that I did, you know what I mean? So I'm here to help people that you know what I mean? I want to see you guys win. I want to see your bank accounts blow up. I want to see you guys with your bills paid. You know what I mean? I want to see people win. You know what I mean? So that's all it is. I just want to see everybody win. That's all it is, man. So don't be shy. Hit me up if you got questions about how to make money from your music. Besides that, you can check out The View, y'all. Check out The View. Look at this. Like, I look at that every day and I remind myself that I'm blessed to be alive. You know, I thank God. But yeah, I'm making a beat, so I ain't gonna do too much talking now. But if you have a question, I'll definitely respond. And if you rock with what I'm doing, make sure to drop a super chat. I got the secret sauce of how to make money from your music, y'all. Come on now. A lot of people, you know, people will hate and be like, "Yeah, I have a real job." Amazing, that's good. I'm happy for you. But people will say that as a way to try to diss people like me I get to do what I want every day. I have no schedule. I have to make my schedule because my royalties come in and I get to do what I want. And and people will turn that on me and try to make me feel bad for it's like, no, I put in the work, bro. You know what I mean? So don't be mad at me. I took the risk of going homeless, and I did go homeless. You know what I mean? So now I get to live like how I want to live. but I went homeless already. So don't be mad at me. I took the risk, and it knocked me upside the head trying to do music full time in the beginning. And it, and I wasn't literally like homeless, like on the streets, but like I was, you just stay with friends or family members, that type of thing. But I took the risk, and it was embarrassing. You know what I mean? So, but then when you start getting your money and when stuff starts paying off, you start to feel good about yourself because your hard work starts paying off. So I just want to see you guys win, man. Don't live your life scared. Your life is too short to live your life scared, never going for your dreams. Because guess what? This life goes by a lot quicker than you think it does. But God bless everybody, man. God bless everybody. Doing it right here on the Prophet 6, man. And the headphones, so I'm not sharing it with anybody. You'll hear this when it drops, but that's what it is, man. Who's trying to get that money through music, baby? Who's trying to make money, pay them bills from music? Don't be scared. A lot of people think that I just make beats. I don't just make beats, bro. I do it all. I'm an artist, engineer, singer, songwriter, producer, arranger. Got publishing deals. There's a lot of ways to get it. I got songs on Netflix. Bet y'all didn't know that. So there's a lot of ways to get it through music, bro. If you really want to. And stop and don't. A lot of people want to think about music and say, well, if don't have $20 million, what's the point? It's like, bro, look at music as the way that you look at any other job. You're going to make what you put out. So if you are an incredible artist, you're probably going to make multi-millions. If you're really great at what you do and you're kind of more of a niche, you might be one of the ones who makes, 6 figures, multiple 6 figures. So you got to have a realistic mindset about what you're doing. I make R&B soul. That's my passion. I understand that that's a niche. So it's harder. I have to work 10 times harder because people are pushing more of a different sound in the mainstream. But I love the R&B, so that's what I stick to. And I'm okay. If I only get one hit every couple of years, I'm cool with that because I do what I love. I'm not going to make trash music that, that's not my objective. I'm not going to make music that makes people want to hurt people. I'm going to make music that inspires love. You know what I mean? There's enough violence in the world as it is. So I don't make music that inspires people to go crazy. You know what I mean? And that's something I challenge a lot of producers out there making songs that make one of people go shoot the club up. You know what I mean? And and that's not good. We need to promote. People need to get back to promoting, conscious music. You know what I mean? Conscious hip hop, even conscious R&B, just music in general. Get more conscious about what you're making. If it doesn't inspire something positive, then my question is, why make it? Because people are going to be influenced by that. You know what I mean? So, if you want to make the world a better place, make better music, make music that helps people, not hurts them. So a lot of people just do. I don't do music. The funny thing about this video is I don't do music for money, because the music that's for money is actually more of the negative music. It's more of the stuff that's going to bring people down. A lot of people love music that brings them down for some reason. I don't do that. So I won't sell out for that. I'm not going to sell out for, if somebody asked me to produce an album about doing some, hurting people and violence, I'm out. They can write, I don't care how big the check is. I ain't doing it. I'm going to make music that I think God, that God blessed me with, that's going to help the world. That's the kind of music. I'm going to make the music that makes people want to get together and have children. That's the kind of music that I'm on. So you can't buy that. That's more purpose more than anything. So there's nothing like when you wake up and you get a message on your Instagram and somebody says, hey, my kid was born. We were listening to your album, blah, blah, blah. That's the best feeling in the world, that you help bring life in the world. So to me, it don't get much better than that. That's about it, man. Yeah, just kicking it up here. Got the AC on. It's hot. It's hot as hell, heck outside. And but I'm up in here with the AC, baby, and I get to enjoy the view without the heat. So that's because of music. That's music. Music took care of that for me. You know what I mean? But I'm serious. I want to see other people that are serious about the craft. You just give people different ways that you can earn from your tracks. You can get it's very real. What's good, A Major? I see you, bro. I hope everything's well, man. Yeah, I'm just cooking, and I just figured I'd say what's up to everybody before I get too zoned out. Because you know how it is. You'll be on a track. I'll be on a track for hours and hours just because I like to stay in the vibe. You know what I mean? But appreciate you checking in, man. Hope all is well. Oh man, much love to everyone out there. How's everybody's mental health, man? I hope everybody keep your mental intact. You know what I mean? Get that exercise, do something positive today. Mental health is like an exercise. You gotta keep doing stuff that's gonna bring your spirit up, Appreciate you, A Major. Yeah, checking on everybody's mental health. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world and everything like that. And I try to keep everything about music, but obviously we all know there's a lot going on in the world and stuff, a lot of madness. And I'm sure a lot of people's mental health could be pretty bad right now. But just remember to try to, one day at a time, just make sure you're doing something positive, getting that exercise, taking care of your vessel, your health, you know what I mean? Try to find something to be grateful for. Try to find that purpose. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what's up. That's what's up, Major. Yeah. Yep. Exercise is one of the best things for mental health, man. Because if your physical health is good, you're just more likely to just feel better in general. Testing out this little electric guitar patch on the Prophet. What's good? Jarrell Devin, what's good, bro? What's good, man? On here with the Prophet 6, and I'm offering any kind of feedback to anybody that just curious that wants to find more ways to make money from their music. I'm just giving ideas. If you don't have any questions, but I'm just putting it out there. If anybody has any questions about different ways to earn royalties from your music, there's a lot of different ways, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Jay. Yeah, man. So yeah, there's so many different as a producer. If you're making beats, like I got my producer homies in here, Jay and A Major. And Major, you probably already know but as a producer, there's a lot of different ways to get your money and stuff like that. Of course, we have Airbit and BeatStars that definitely get your beats on there. And obviously, you're going to want to network with artists that gravitate towards your music that you respect. that's something that I did early on. So I connected with, Frankie J, Crazy Bone, people like that I connected with personally. And then, obviously meeting like Albie Sure and stuff, connected with him personally through Quincy. And the Tyga placement was that one. I didn't meet him, but that just was like God. God put that one together for me. I can't really, something like that where you get a gold record and then a feature with Tyga and stuff like that. I can't really explain that. That just came from me putting stuff on YouTube. Honestly, I just put stuff on YouTube and the right artists used the track, and then all of a sudden Tyga ended up featuring on the song. And then you look at your BMI statement and you're sharing royalties with Tyga, that's crazy, So I read that. Shout out to the God for that, man, because I couldn't have predicted that. But yeah, doing, as a producer, there's different ways. Not only beat sales, but we can get songs, we can get placements on Netflix and, different networks where you can get, nice BMI royalties for that, or ASCAP or whatever, CSAC or whatever pro that you're with. I was lucky early on in my career to actually get a Netflix placement all the way back like in 2014, 2015 for a song called Take You Home, and it actually ended up on that show 90210. If anybody remembers that, there was like a reboot of like a 90210 on Netflix, and they had my song on like a boyfriend and girlfriend scene, which was pretty cool. So there's a lot of different ways we can all get money from music. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. Summer Walker, Heart of a Woman. I heard about that, man. And that beat, I love that beat from that song too. I was like, bro, that beat is so sick. So shout out to what's his name? Travis, Tavares Jordan. So shout out to Tavares, man. Like, that's a dope beat. So I'm not surprised that it got picked up. That's a really sick beat. Yeah, so like pretty much when I start making a beat, I have to play on the keyboard. Sometimes I come up with the melody within seconds, and other times I have to play for like hours to get inspired, and then I finally come across something that I like. And then you got to get the right preset that you want. On the Prophet 6, they got hundreds and hundreds of different presets that you can use. So sometimes I'm going through the presets and tweaking, and I'll be on here for 4 hours before I lock into something sometimes. Is that exactly, Jay? Yep. Same with me. I usually start with 99% of the time I start with the melody, unless there's like a crazy drum beat I happen to come up with, but the melody inspires pretty much everything, 100%. Yeah, man. Trying to figure out what kind of track to make today. So yes, yep, A major, yeah. It seems like we all have that in common. Starting with the melody has all the emotion in it a lot of the time. You know what I mean? So it kind of guides what you want to do with the drums. Yeah. So just trying to find a vibe here. I need something smooth, man. Sometimes on these synthesizers, they give you like, you'll be getting all these kind of sound effect, wacky sounds and stuff. So sometimes it takes a while to kind of go through the presets and discover something you really like. But once you find something that's really nice, it's pretty dope. So shout out to Sequential Dave Smith, rest in peace, Dave Smith, my favorite keyboard engineer, designer, creator, created MIDI and all that. Yeah, man. Let's see. Yeah. I appreciate that, Jay. Yeah, I dropped that new kit this morning, so I had been working on it for the last couple months. Yeah, so it's pretty much just like, there's some Jodeci type stuff. Then I got some neo soul Bilal kind of like, Fender Road kind of stuff in there, and then I got like Sade kind of stuff, Aaron Hall, I'll Be Sure type New Jack Ballad kind of feeling kind of stuff, and man, I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm excited to see what y'all, any one of you that end up getting it. I'm excited to see what y'all do with it, and let's try to get a placement, man. You know what I mean? So my biggest song to date is a collaboration with another producer. So, that's why I do that. I really do the kits because I think somebody's going to turn the melody into a hit. That's why I really do them. I believe somebody will make a melody to something in there, and it's going to become a classic. Or not make a melody, but they'll build a beat around the melodies that I've put in there. All right, let's see. I think I still want to do some Jodeci stuff. I'm still in that mode. You know what I mean? What's good? Yeah, man. I'm still in that Jodeci mode. Yo, shout out to Devontae Swing though. He's one of the most I don't want to say that he's underrated, but man, he definitely deserves more credit. Devontae Swing is one of the coldest R&B producers of all time, bro. The way he puts his sounds together on those Jodeci records, and then he did like Changing Faces and H Town, and I'm forgetting some of the other ones, but man, he had obviously he did Tupac as well. He did all the All Eyes on Me album. He did the I Came to Bring the Pain. He did that. He did Usher. Yeah, Can You Get With It? It's like that. Yeah, that's one of my favorite Usher records too. that beat is so dope. The way that Devontae would use the leads, like the leads on the synthesizer and stuff. Like so dope, so dope. I have that first Usher album on CD somewhere in my old car or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, Devontae, his bridge is crazy, bro. Yeah. Love You for Life. That bridge on that is insane. Forever My Lady bridge, insane. Uh insane. Freaking You, I can't remember what kind of bridge that has, but I know it has like a breakdown, and Devontae comes through with that talk box. That is so, man. I'll just rewind to that part and listen to it over and over again because the talk box on Freaking You, is it that part is insane. That's like my favorite part of the record. Yeah, and the interludes. Yeah, we need to bring back the interludes. That's great. Yeah, he used to do those interludes, and he'd go crazy with the synth and have yeah, that yeah, he was crazy with the interludes. So shout out to Devontae, man. Got to give him his flowers because he's truly one of the dopest producers of all time, to be honest. Do you know y'all know he did something for Aerosmith as well? I didn't even know he did stuff he produced a record for Aerosmith out of all people, you know what I mean? So Steven Tyler and the Living on the Edge, you remember Aerosmith? So he actually produced the song for them, but I didn't even know that. I recently found that out. Yeah, so Devontae used to always talk about, like, if I'm older, right? So I used to watch MTV when I was younger. So in his interviews, he would always talk about how he listened to rock music as well. And so I'm not, I wasn't surprised. I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised at the same time because I remember he said that he also listened to rock music. So yeah, he produced a record for Aerosmith. Insane, right? Insane. And I guess in one of Genuine's interviews, you guys can see this on YouTube. He was saying that so Devontae created the Freaking You track when they had that basement crew. And so I guess Genuine was obviously in the house when he was creating that. And I guess Devontae wouldn't come out of the studio room for I think he said like more than 2 or 3 days, and he even went as far as saying that I think they were like putting his food just putting his food under the door or leaving his food at the door or something like that. So this dude locked himself up in the studio and didn't come out for days, and then when he came out, he had Freaking You, and Genuine said he started to hear the bare basics of Freaking You blaring out of the room, and he tried to get in, but he wouldn't open the door. So that just shows you how serious Devontae was about his craft, man. Yeah, Diary of a Mad Band, the name of their second album, which sounds like a rock band. And yeah, it does. It does sound kind of like it definitely does. And that's, man, all their albums are just insane. And they had dropped albums in 2014 as well, or 2015. What y'all think about that one? It had one song on there that I really liked a lot. I forgot the name of it though, so shame on me. Obviously, I'm an old school person, so the first 3 albums are always going to be my favorite. But I was still happy to see him drop something again. And they still have skills, man. Legends. Yeah, exactly. It's hard to pick a favorite Jodeci song because they have so many great records. But I think my all-time favorite one is Fiendin'. I'm a big fan of that talk box, and I feel like that Fiendin' record, the way that Devontae did the talk box on Fiendin' is just, to me, like that's some of the best talk box of all time. That got me fiending. Like the way that it just sounded dope because it was all harmonized. He had another harmony going on it and stuff. So that Fiendin' record's probably my favorite Jodeci record. My favorite album as a whole is the first one, but my favorite song is definitely Fiendin'. Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, that strung out. Girl, you got me strung out. Something your time for a job of your mind. Yeah, that was cold on the Phoenix song, man. But he probably ain't got to make music anymore because he got so many royalties from that first Jodeci. So he probably good for the rest of his life now. I heard that he has like a ranch out in California, so he must have kept his money. You know what I mean? And that shout out to them, man. I wish he would do more interviews. Okay, I never heard that song. It's called Alone. I don't. Man, I'm gonna have to look that one up. I probably heard it, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's yeah, still waiting is I yeah I'm still waiting. I love those beats. I love the beat from that song too, just like dope. And it has those I'll Be Sure presets because I'll Be Sure came in as far as what I heard from the interviews and and KC he's talked about it. Like Devontae already had the structure and the songs written for the most part, and then Albie came in and he had more sounds, presets on his keyboards and stuff, and more sound racks and all that. And he came in and he brought those in effect mode, private times, and the whole nine presets to Devontae, and he had Devontae use those sounds, and I believe Al played some of the sounds too, like because Al gets down on the keyboard as well, so I think Al played bass on the "Come and Talk to Me" original version. As far as from what I remember from the liner notes, I'm pretty sure that Al did like he was playing the bass. But I guess he brought in like his modules and his keyboards, or rather, he brought Devontae to his place and had him program on his equipment and had Devontae use his sounds. And so that's why like that first Jodeci album really kind of the production feels a lot like Al B. Sure's early work. It feels a lot like Al B. Sure's first album as far as like the production wise. Obviously, Jodeci brought something completely new with their vocals, but the production was it had those Al B. Sure presets and that kind of just those presets that Al was using with Kyle West, and then obviously they were using Devontae Swing on those last two, not last two, but the Private Times and the Sexy Verses. Devontae Swing was one of the major producers on both of those projects. So I'm sure y'all know that though. Yeah, we definitely need more on R&B groups, man. I agree. I agree. We need another Jodeci. We need another Jodeci, man. 100%. The thing about groups is everybody brings something unique to the table. That was kind of the magic of the group is, everybody kind of brought something unique. And then sometimes there's always that one member that nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody really knows what their role is, but they're just there. But still, it's dope to have a group. But yeah, I mean, yeah, as you can see, I'm a big fan of Devontae Swing production. So one of his best productions that I love personally was Changing Faces, Keep It Right There. I love that record. Now that's going way back. That's like mid '90s, man. When I was just a young one. Century or Chemistry. All right, I'll have to look that up. You can post a link if it lets you in the chat. Feel free. Yeah, man. So I'm trying to lock into some sounds here. Let's kind of cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, Devontae was cold with it. That would be dope to see him come back and produce some stuff for like Chris Brown or somebody. You know what I mean? Some of these newer R&B guys could benefit from having like a legend arrange one of their records. Phew. Imagine a Chris Brown Devontae Swing production. That'd be insane. Yeah, that'd be insane, man. But yeah, I know Chris Brown. He shows Jodeci love all the time in his live shows. He'll even just play their music for the audience in general. So that's really dope of him to do that. Yeah, man. So growing up, it was actually my mom and my aunt that went to a Jodeci concert. I was too young, but they went and they told me about it. And they said Devontae was playing the keys, and he was telling people in the audience that they're messing up the song. So he kind of did that same routine that he did on MTV, where he tells people, "Y'all messing up the song." If any of you ever seen the Unplugged MTV. So my mom went to Jodeci. It wasn't just Jodeci, but it was like one of those summer jams. So she's seen Notorious Big, Junior Mafia, Jodeci. Man, it was out in Seattle, at the somewhere near Seattle, but it was Cube 93 Summer Jam. And so yeah, it had Notorious Big, Jodeci, and some other people that I can't think of right now. But yeah, she said they were really good though, and live back then. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? I know. Man, yeah, I would love to see those guys. I would love to see Teddy Riley and Devontae really produce some records, modern records that would blow up. But people, sometimes people got their hits, and it's just a different generation. But I do believe people can still make new hit records. But do they need to? Probably not, because they already got the bag, so they don't really need it like they did when they was younger. But it would still be cool. Yeah, and it would be cool if we could just access him. Like, it's hard to access Devontae because he's not even on social media. Now, Teddy Riley, I've talked to Teddy Riley on social media. He's very cool. He's very humble. He'll respond to you. So I reached out to him, and I had a conversation with him, and he's a very humble dude. And yeah, I just said, I was like, "Hey man, I'm a big fan. You inspired me." And he was cool. He was just like, "Thank you. I appreciate you." Man, I love Teddy Riley. Shout out to Teddy Riley, man. I used to watch his special on BET in the late '90s called "The Man Behind the Music." Who remembers that special on BET, "The Man Behind the Music" for Teddy Riley? That used to inspire me when I was like 14, 15 years old. And that's one of the main reasons why I felt compelled to even start making beats at all, is because Teddy Riley and DJ Quick are really the main reasons why I make beats, to be honest. Yeah, you remember that, Major? Yep, Man Behind the Music. Yeah, there's still little clips of it on YouTube that I'll pull up sometimes. But watching that when back in the day, the internet wasn't what it was now. I think a lot of people had dial up, so but it wasn't what it was now, where you could just look up all this stuff. And when I watched The Man Behind the Music with Teddy Riley, I had no clue how many records he was behind. Like, like I just knew about, a little bit of a couple records, but I didn't know how much stuff he had did. I was like, wow, because I was just a fan of when I was younger, I was just listening to his Keith Sweat and Bobby Brown, I'll Be Sure, and Blackstreet stuff. But then I found out he also did High Five, Kiss and Gang. He also did Heavy D, Is It Good to You? He also did Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick. He also did, I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but there are so many other records that I didn't even know that he produced. He literally had, I think, over 100 records on the charts. It was insane. And yeah, of course, Guy with, Aaron Hall, Damian Hall, and I think Timmy Gatling from the first one for a little bit, and then he dropped out of the group. And then I'll Be Sure is an unofficial member of Guy. I bet y'all don't know that, because You Can Call Me Crazy, that's I'll Be Sure vocal. That's I'll Be Sure's vocal on there. Dub with, I think it has some dubs with Timmy Gatling as well. But so he was kind of an unofficial member of Guy, because if you think about it, because that was their first album. Blackstreet, yep. Yeah, man, that Guy first album. No, baby, no, baby, no, baby. Yeah. Man, there's so many classics on that first album. I like things you do to me. That's one of my favorites. Brings out ecstasy. All that. And the second album, though, too, Let's Chill. Let's Chill is one of my favorites. I think, Let's Chill from the second album. Let's Chill, and that has Tony Thompson of High Five on the hook. How many people knew that? Yep. Yeah, that D50, man. That was like the magic keyboard back for all the New Jack Swing producers and other producers, really. I think like a lot of different genres were actually using the D50. It was pretty amazing, but magical keyboard, man. So many hits made with that. Was like the Korg Triton. That was the D50 was like what the Korg Triton was to the early 2000s, right? That the D50 was basically the Triton of the 80s and 90s, because y'all know when the Triton came out, that was like the biggest keyboard in the early 2000s. Really, like everybody was using that on the record. It didn't even matter what genre. Like everybody had it, from Pharrell to Brian McKnight to whoever. Everybody was using that Triton to make hits. I mean, there's tutorials on YouTube, or not tutorials, but video breakdowns talking about the presets that Pharrell was using for different hit songs, and the grinding song, and then his fronting song. You can find that guitar on the Triton from the fronting song, and then Sean Paul, Give Me the Light. That guitar sound from Give Me the Light is the Triton. So back in the day, like a certain keyboard would be the go-to for like almost everybody. Right now there's kind of a lot of different keyboards, you know what I mean? But back then it would be like one keyboard that would like make so many hits. Yeah, the Korg M1. I know, right? Yeah. It would be dope to do a group. Kind of what I want to do now, because I'm a little bit older. I'm not going to act like I'm in my 20s anymore, early 40s. So I'm old, man. So I kind of want to find some younger people that can really sing, you know what I mean, and produce and write all their songs for them. But I got to find the people. I got to find the people first. So I want to produce like a young Joe. I want to find some people that are like 17, 18 that could sing, that have the talent. They got to have the look too, right? And I want to basically do what I do, give them and try to put that sound on them. But give them my sound, but have them do it as it's more marketable when you're younger, right? So when you're young, you're marketable. That's just the way it goes. Never too old for sure. But I'd be lying to say that a lot of the people that we look up to, that we grew up on, they came out when they were young. You know what I mean? So you do have an advantage energy wise, and it's what I mean, to really make a mark musically, and then build up. When you get older, those fans should stay with you, right? So that's what I have. I have people that's been with me since 2006, 2007 MySpace era that still listen to the music. So I'm grateful for that. But I would love to give my songs, or not give, but produce a younger group that's the same age Jodeci was when they came out, and let that blow up for a new generation. I would just love to see it happen in the new generation. That'd be crazy. Yeah, man. So I would love to see that. Yeah, yeah. Jodeci. Hmm. I'm still looking for a preset that I want to use, to be honest. Yeah, man. Pretty much, I start my days off with the smoothie, man, so I can have energy to be on this keyboard for all 8 to 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours, whatever it takes. So, how many of you guys have smoothies? I'm a smoothie addict, bro. For real. Yeah, man. So, but yeah, so pretty much the point of this live was to anybody that has any questions about how to generate money, um, or extra ways to generate money from your music, yeah, shoot them at me. Just to, I'm definitely trying to help other musicians get it 100%, man. Because to be honest, I like to see other people do well. or at least make progress. It's not about going to zero to 100, but I like to see people make progress or get their first beat sell or get their first check from Spotify or get their first check from, from selling their CDs or whatever, from selling their merch or getting their first show. I love to hear about that. What I don't like to hear is when people say they put something out and they're not feeling good about it and they're going to give up. I see that as well. I see people, I don't like seeing that. I want to see, so I'm trying to, stop the talented people from quitting, because the music, despite all this AI stuff, it's never going to beat real music. It's entertaining, but it shouldn't replace humans at the end of the day. You know what I mean? We need real musicians that we can look up to and admire, at the end of the day, man. So that's what it is. All this AI, I think the AI stuff, that's cool and whatever, but real music is still wins at the end of the day. Yeah, man. So who's trying to get a bag from music? I'm going to tell people a key point to making money in music. Just be a nice person. Not nice where people walk all over you, but when you're going to make connections or build a relationship with people that are going to help you in this game, be a nice person. What I notice, especially with certain musicians, and this, unfortunately, this affects beat makers and producers a lot. Sometimes they don't know how to act around people because they're inside making beats all day. And when they actually meet somebody, they don't know how to act. So sometimes they say really weird, awkward things. Like sometimes I'll talk to a producer and they'll say something really awkward. And it's almost like I don't think they wanted to say that, but because they're not used to talking to people, they just say something kind of off the wall. And I think, one thing that especially producers could work on is just, get outside more. Don't be afraid to network. Don't be afraid to talk to artists, man. Just work on your people skills. People skills has a lot to do with your success. You got to be able to negotiate. You got to be able to deal with lawyers. You got to be able to deal with artists, and artists are very emotional people too. So, stuff can go wrong with your artist relationships. So, and this is to musicians too. Just being a nice person in this music world, it's going to help you out. You just have to balance it so it doesn't get to a point where people walk all over you. But being a nice person goes a long way, because a lot of people deal with a lot of jerks and people that treat them poorly. So being, a kind person goes a long way, but then you got to split it 50-50 so you don't get walked all over. So you're kind, you're a nice person, but at the same time, you don't let other people in the game take advantage of you. You don't sign bad contracts. You don't let other musicians walk all over you or treat you like you're less than. You got to have self-respect, but always lead with love. Make it a point to be a gentleman, act nice and be good to people, and that will go a long way. That's helped me out. I've been in situations that could have went left, but I've been able to smooth them out because I treat people well. And next thing you know, I'm close with those people. And then sometimes you deal with people that are just going to be how they are, and you can't fix those relationships. But just being a nice person will go a long way. It'll go a long way, man. And but just balance that out. Don't be so nice to the extent where you're bending over backwards. Don't overdo it. Just don't overdo the niceness, but be genuine. Just be genuine enough, but also know when you're being not respected. You got to leave those situations as well. So that's one of the keys to getting paid in the music industry is be good to people, because people are going to want to treat if you're friends with somebody, they're more likely to treat you better. We all know that. We all want better things for the people that we love. So if you treat people well, they're going to want to help you. But if you treat them badly, they're not going to want to help. If you treat people badly, they're not going to want to help you. So just always keep that in mind. And if they like you, if you make their life easier, they're more likely to pay you. You know what I mean? If you're just a cool person. But if you're producing for an artist and you're always asking, hey, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? They're not going to like you anymore because, sometimes people don't got the money. Let's just be real about it. So just be cool, just be smooth, be chill, be cool. And then also know when to not walk away. So you don't overly be nice. So know when to walk away when the value is not being reciprocated. But you know what I mean? So just some food for thought. Yeah, I'm still looking for a preset, man. Still looking for something that I want to vibe to. So, what y'all think about that Diddy verdict? What's everybody's thoughts on that Diddy verdict? You guys think he's gonna walk? What y'all think about that? Yeah, man. But the easiest way to make it in the music industry, make a hit record. But then you got to get a lawyer to make sure that you don't get messed out. Somebody mess you out of your money. You don't want to get, messed out of your money at the end of the day. So I've had those situations. Getting a lawyer literally saved my life, to be honest, 100%. So, and shout out to the lawyer that's helped me out. But yeah, when you're dealing with like serious stuff in the music business, when you have a record that, if you're blessed to get a record that's doing crazy numbers, that's when you want to get, lawyers involved and people to help you, because the truth be told is a lot of times you're missing out on all kinds of checks and royalty checks you wouldn't even know about. So if I never got a lawyer for myself, I wouldn't even have known about the different royalties. I didn't even know what an administration deal was. The lawyer taught me that, you know what I mean? I didn't know he taught me about different types of royalties that are out there. And so because of that situation, I know more now. I know, and I was able to sign up for different royalty. So I was missing out on different kind of royalties for my songs. So even just having that relationship with a music lawyer, not only got me paid from the particular song that he helped me with, but it also helped me get paid from my other songs that I have, because he showed me the different avenues that you can obtain royalties through. You know what I mean? So that's important. Publishing is one of the most, if not the most important thing, if you have records that are actually on Spotify and iTunes, and you're going to want to have your publishing right, because those publishing checks can really take care of you, man. And obviously there's different tiers in the music business. Not everybody's going to be a multimillionaire, and that's cool. You know what I mean? There's plenty of people like me and you who are just happy, who would be, or are completely happy with making 150, 200, 250, 100,000, 250,000 a year from solely their music. And a lot of people would be just happy with that. You know what I mean? That's enough for a lot of people. Now, there's some people that are more greedy and they would try to say that's not enough, but most of us can live pretty decently, you know, with over 200 grand a year from music. So, you know, what I try to tell musicians is set your sights high, aim high. And if you don't make $1 million right away, don't be disappointed. If you make if you make 40K in a year from your music, you're doing it bigger than 99.9% of everybody, just because you get to do something you love and pay your bills with it, depending on where you're at. I mean, that might not work in certain areas, obviously, but as long as you don't live in like a major city or something like that. Obviously, if you're living in like a major city, like a Miami or LA, you're gonna want to make it at bare minimum 150K or something, because obviously the times are more expensive now. But yeah, man, you can pay your bills with this music, man. It's a real thing. You know, it can't. It's nice to not have to deal with some a-hole boss that tries to put you down, or, you know, all this kind of stuff, which is stuff that I dealt with when I was younger. And it was when I quit my last job, which was at Best Buy. Shout out to Best Buy. When I quit my last job in 2011, it was so good to quit it, because I was making just enough to pay my rent. I was still broke, but I was making just enough to pay my rent. And then in order to get food, I would have to go to those little check cash places. I'll go to those little check cash places back when I was like 26, 27. Chinchilla, what's good, my guy? It's good to hear from you, bro. Miss you, man. Hope everything's well. Yeah. Hey, say what's up to my boy Chinchilla in the chat, man. Me and him have a lot of dope collaborations through the years. So make sure you go like, share, and subscribe to his YouTube. He got some bangers, and we got a lot of bangers together as well. Yeah, man. Just I remember when my boss was saying, "Hey, we're gonna fire you because you keep making beats on the cash register." That was the irony of that. Good, man. I'm glad to see you back, bro. I know you got some heat as well. And I remember my boss would say, "Hey, I noticed that you keep drumming beats on the cash register. We don't want you to do that. If you keep doing that, I'm going to be forced to fire you." And you know, and this was 2011. I was working at a Best Buy in Vacaville, California. Shout out to the Bay Area, 707, baby. So I was a resident out there for a little while. But she goes, "Hey, I'm going to fire you if you keep drumming beats on the cash register." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, there's no customers." And she goes, "Yeah, but I'm going to fire you if you keep doing that." And I was like, "How about this? I'm going to quit right now because I already make money from my music, and I don't need this anymore." And now I couldn't have done that a couple years prior to that because I wasn't making money from it. But all the way back in 2011, I was making just enough money to pay my rent. And that's about it. I could pay my rent and the car note, and that was it. And then I had to, in order to eat, I had to go to those little check cash places and get like $300. Back then, $300 actually would go a long way for groceries. In 2011, 300 would go a long way for groceries, believe it or not. Hey, yeah. So you said you don't know how to put your music online. Is that what you were saying? Hardy? Is it Hardy 5? Yeah, let me know more, man. I'll be glad to help you assist. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to, what I want you to do, man, go ahead and email me at tonysway1@gmail.com and kind of explain to me what you're trying. I need to know more about your situation. So if you have songs, you should be able to just upload them as like, you know, if you want to put them on YouTube, you just need to use like a video maker, like a Final Cut or a Sony Vegas or something, and you can put a little artwork to it. But I can probably help you out more if you just hit me on my email, tonysway1@gmail.com. tonysway1@gmail.com. Just hit me on there, and maybe I can help you figure out what your problem. But I remember just quitting that job and being able to do it because I was like, you know what? I make just enough to pay my rent back in Vacaville, California. if I remember exact, it was expensive for back then. It was, it was kind of a nice apartment. It had like a pool and like a spa, so it was like a nicer apartment. But it was expensive for me back then, back in those times, because I didn't have much. But it was like 1150 or something. And so I made just enough. I made like exactly that much every month from selling beats and selling CDs. And so what I had to do was just go get I had to borrow money from the checking cash place every month to get like an extra 300. And then that 300 would give me enough to buy groceries and go out to eat and stuff for the whole month, because $300 stretched out. That money stretched back in 2011. So I was able to go to Safeway every day and get food with just 300 back in the day. And so I was broke, but all my bills were paid, and I was doing it with music. So that was the first time that's all I had was music. So that was like a crazy feeling. And I think I was getting something else. I was getting some kind of like disability for a little while as well when I was younger, but that got cut off real quick. So I think that paid me a couple $100 as well. But for the most part, whatever I was making from music, it just went all to my bills, and then I had to get checking cash money to pay for groceries. And that was how I was living back then. But I was happy because I didn't have a boss telling me what to do. And then I got used to that feeling of just being like, hey, if I can make money on my own, I don't want to go back to that feeling of somebody telling me what to do. I hate that feeling, So, but that's what it was. So that was an interesting experience. That was a life-changing experience. That boss who was going to fire me really propelled me into my future, to be honest. So shout out to them. Anything, come back to love. This time, you're dreaming of another day. Maybe too long. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Vibing, y'all. Vibing. Yeah, man. Trying to find a vibe. Locking into a vibe. You'll be surprised where you can get in your life when you have a singular focus, when you're locked in on something, making something happen, and you have your ultimate focus all into that one thing. Magical things can happen when you do that. Some of my other favorite R&B producers, Tim and Bob. I know that they're not a group necessarily anymore, but yeah, Tim and Bob, man, they have some crazy productions. Obviously, Bobby Valentino, but their most classic production for me is that John B. They Don't Know. That John B. They Don't Know really signified like, you know, late 90s R&B was at its peak when he dropped that, you know what I mean? Yes, yeah, Tim and Bob, and they got that Asian R&B sound with, you know, those like Asian type of sounds, like instruments and stuff like that. But Tim and Bob, bro, they came in, they were under the tutelage, or they were studying people like, you know, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Their goal was to be like kind of like a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, to be honest. Compton June, yes sir. I can't wait to hear the record, bro. And let me know, because I'm gonna shoot that out on my community. Make sure people click in and check out the collaboration with my dude Compton June. Man, he's holding it down. He got that Bay Area sound, you know what I mean? So we got a little record, man. Something special. I think y'all gonna like it. But man, that Tim and Bob, they really defined late 90s R&B. So they kind of picked up where Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis kind of left off. Janet Jackson was, I wouldn't say that she was slowing down. Not at all. She was actually, they were still going, but they kind of picked up after like the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis era, pretty much. And they came in with, obviously they were on that Boyz II Men #2 album, but man, they came in with that John B. They Don't Know and that Tamia So Into You, and really kind of lit the torch for the late 90s R&B production. You know what I mean? Man, Coma Boys. You know what? I'm not familiar with them, and I usually know everybody, but I'm not familiar with them. Man, but Tim and Bob, they blazed the trail for that late 90s R&B, and they just had like these certain arrangements and harmonies that they were doing in their records that was just perfect. You know what I mean? Just amazing. And obviously they came through and they produced Bobby Valentino's first album, and there's so many classics on that album as well. Like not just the singles, but also like the album tracks, like One Girl to Love and I'll Forgive You. Those are like classic R&B album tracks. And yeah, Tim and Bob, man, they were holding it down. I really hope that, you know, they score some more hits in modern music, because I don't know if they work together. I don't think they work together as a team anymore, but I sure would love to see it. I follow both of them on Instagram, and they seem like really humble guys, man. They respond back to their comments and stuff. And obviously they did the Thong Song. That was kind of, actually the Thong Song was like their biggest record, obviously. But, you know, for me, I'm into more of the slower, the more slower R&B kind of slow jam stuff. But yeah, Thong Song, that's the record that probably obviously paid them the most money. That was a huge pop smash. Wasn't necessarily like my favorite of theirs, but it's definitely their biggest hit. I'm a fan of their slow jam, more of their slow jam type of stuff. But but they put it down, bro. So shout out to Tim and Bob. And Thong Song was dope too, but that was more of a pop record. You know what I mean? So to me, I think they have stuff that's way better than that. But I understand that sometimes you have to put that pop single out to get your money right? Because sometimes that pop single is what's going to get you paid and give you the money so you can reinvest and do the other stuff that you want to do. But shout out to Tim and Bob, man. They're absolutely legends, and they need to be celebrated more. Oh, they did something on the History album too. I didn't know about that. I believe you're right. No, I did listen to an interview where I believe that he mentioned that. I forgot what record it was. I forgot what record it was. Shout out to Rodney Jerkins as well. Rodney Jerkins did a lot of dope stuff in late 90s, early 2000s. And he held down more of the pop radio R&B. So he did more so the pop R&B radio. But he had a lot of dope up-tempo records that I still appreciate to this day. You know what I mean? But my favorite stuff is actually when he got with Michael Jackson and did "You Rock My World, You Know You Did, and Everything I Wanna Get." Like that, him and Rodney Jerkins got together and did that. I thought that was super dope. You rock my world, you know you did, everything I wanna get. You can't sing Michael without actually, you have to get into that vibe, you know what I mean? Do the finger and stuff like that. Yeah, man, I can't do Michael without doing the dance steps. I think it's just natural. Shout out to rest in peace to Michael Jackson. Yeah, man. When I grew up growing up, my main thing was to move. I used to moonwalk for everybody, and you know, I don't think I can do the leg thing anymore because my knees is messed up. But I used to do the leg kick, and then I do all the, what I mean, all the, Michael Jackson used to do all the. He was always pointing, you know what I mean, when he did his moves. He's like, every time like a snare would hit, he'd be like he was always moving exactly, to the beat or to the drum beat. And he would just add in his little, his moves, you know what I mean? Woo! Woo! Oh! You know what I mean? I ain't trying to yell on the thing. But you know what I mean? Michael, he would be getting down to, Michael beatbox. He was, he beatbox, so he'd be doing that. You know what I mean? He'd be getting into it, so you couldn't help but feel it. So, Michael's the truth, bro. I think I found a vibe. All right, so I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Shout out to everybody in the chat. A Major, Compton June, Chinchilla, Hard 5, everybody that kicked it with me today. And shoot, if you missed me and you're watching the playback, I guess I'll catch y'all next time. Appreciate everybody kicking it here with me. I finally locked into a melody, so I'm gonna lay that down. But God bless y'all. Have an amazing day. Make sure to check out my new lube kit, and make sure you like this content so everybody can see it when I go live. And check in with me at TonySwayMusic.com. I appreciate y'all. God bless. Have an amazing day. Peace.